sat down for EP2 and we knew we wanted a vehicle. And then it was kind of a question of what's the character of the vehicle, what's it supposed to be like, what do we want it to feel like. And so we kind of sat down and felt like, okay, this is further out, it's in the, it's away from City 17, it's not something you're getting for the Resistance. We thought, well, a car that kills zombies is great, and a car that's built to kill zombies is even better. So as you can see, the vehicle is really kind of pieced together. It's got a big cow catcher on the front, which is perfect for smashing into things, and there's also a little 8-track player in here.
So yeah, Josh created the system to allow non-player characters to ride in the vehicle, and then just extended that, made it fully general so that riding could be jumping on and hanging on to any part of the vehicle. And when characters are riding in the vehicle, they get the momentum from the turns and all of that stuff, and they can present that in their animation.
So if you've seen the classic thing in the action movies where the guy jumps on the hood and swinging back and forth, that's pretty much what we wanted to go for. So it's pretty cool to see.
I remember we had a bug when we were playtesting the prison in Half-Life 2. This was pretty late in development. And there's that Vortigaunt in the prison that got out and was running around shooting antlines, basically. And we were like, wow, that's really cool. It makes me want to run alongside him and fight antlines with him.
So he has the one attack, which is the same attack he had in Half-Life 2, which is he's able to shoot lightning bolts as you saw him in the last game. So it kind of ties it back into if HO1. It's just a lot nicer to have him on your side this time, shooting other things rather than him shooting at you. If you remember in Half-Life 2, he was able to give you health in a certain area. He was able to charge your suit, and that was in the beginning of the game. So we're like, well, that's a great thing to have walking around with you because Alex doesn't heal you. You always have to find health packs. So the Vort's able to actually, at any time during combat, bail you out by hitting you with armor recharges and kind of bringing your health back up.
That one shall trouble us no more.
But it's kind of cool in a way because we can throw more enemies and put you in different situations that you wouldn't have been able to handle before, and now you can. And that just makes you so much happier to have your ally with you.
In episode 2, where we're pushing out of the familiar confines of Half-Life 2, out of City 17, we've been outside of the city before, but we're seeing, heading north, we're seeing some environments we've never seen before.
We wanted to create these fun combat arenas that were fairly non-linear and open-ended in terms of how the player attacked them. And that led to, this forest setting.
New characters can be out there, new kinds of events that we might not have been able to pull off before are possible.
This is a section of the White Forest, and you can see the Combine are kind of pulling out of City 17 after the Citadel blew up at the end of episode 1. And the player is traveling through this countryside trying to get to a missile silo that's in the White Forest, you don't know where, to rendezvous with Resistance scientists that are working on a super important project up there. And you're kind of racing the Combine forces there. We model a few dozen trees and then we replicate those all over the map in slightly different orientations and positions, and you get the overall effect of a really nice forest. And as you can see, we're building sort of bigger, grander outdoor environments than we did in Half-Life 2, and we hope that kind of gives the episode a more epic feel.
The big things that we wanted to do with the Hunter is make something that really had a much more kind of dramatic read in terms of performance, but also a much more versatile alien synthetic creature that could be a threat outdoors when you're driving the car, but also follow you inside and be versatile like the Combine soldiers were inside of HL2. I started just fooling around with some concept design, like some concept sketches here. It's usually how I start off, just doing quick little ink thumbnail sketches. And eventually this kind of form evolved. It has more of an interesting leg shape than, say, the big strider because it has a dog leg in it, and it gives you more kind of a graphic silhouette read when you're looking at it.
I think one of the citizens got that one.
This guy's quite a death dealer.
Yeah. Oh,
Yikes.
that's probably good. Yeah, the hunters are.
beating.
The hunters are somewhat susceptible
They're pretty tough.
to physics damage, but they are pretty tough. They do take a beating, so usually takes a while to bring one down.
Just behave yourself, please. Just let me get away. Yes. Jesus. There we go.
And just to be clear, pumpkins not gonna be in the final game.
Pumpkins are not going to be. Well, the pumpkin itself will be in the final game, but the Strider Buster will not look like a pumpkin.
Our cause seems hopeless.
If the site is where we think it is, then it should be no more than...
We should never have let her go.
Activated. Searching. Hibernating. Sentry mode active action.
Every year, DigiPen holds an expo where they bring in game developers to take a look at student projects. And a couple people from Valve came by and saw an Narbacular drop and brought us in to show the game to Gabe Newell. And he apparently must have really liked it because he hired us on the spot. So.
Yeah, a lot of what made the idea is actually not coming up with a lot of ideas, but stripping ideas away and simplifying it to the point where we have a very core concept.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of the ideas we had with portals were very complex and had, weapons and entire cities full of, things that you had to chase down or whatever. And we're like, well, let's cut out, all that and just leave the portals and see what we have.
And you mentioned before that you're working on a multiplayer mode right now.
Yeah, it's something that we're planning on coming out with next. Right now, Portal is only slated to be released as single player mode, but we definitely are working on it.
I mean, I'm just kind of wondering, how would you do that? I mean, would it be like a cooperative puzzle solving thing, or would you turn it into a competitive, beat the puzzle before someone else? Or
Well, I mean, we have a bunch of ideas,
Great.
but we haven't figured out exactly which one we're going to go with yet.
Okay. I want to see that incorporated into Half-Life. It's into the main series would be pretty cool too. I mean, you think that might be going in that direction, or?
Well, I mean, it depends on several factors. One of which is player feedback. Whether or not people want a Portal 2, or if they want to see it integrated into the other Half-Life single-player games. And another thing too is we have several factors right now, like the AI, for instance. It doesn't quite understand how to navigate through portals. Putting it in the Half-Life 2 universe gives us a whole range of story things that we can use. I think the environments lend themselves more to figuring out how to complete each challenge. With being a simplified test chamber kind of environment, I think really lends itself to the gameplay.
So is it set in the Half-Life universe?
Yes.
In ways that the chronology will actually overlap with existing?
I can't really say just yet.
The story?
Yeah. It will actually sync up with other things, but we can't say right now how it's going to do that. Well, the
Fantastic.
character that you're using is, or going to be playing as, is a new character in the Half-Life universe that will, the origins of this character will be clear eventually.
As part of the previously mentioned required test protocol, we can no longer lie to you. When the testing is over, you will be missed.
Portal's one of those like sort of parallel evolution games that it's converged on where we're at in some ways. So even though those guys, for me personally, they came out of left field, as it moved closer and closer to our universe, it became sort of a fun challenge to see. Oh, they fill some gaps that we've had. We're like, oh, that'll fit in perfectly in this place, so I didn't know what we were going to put there. And often it's as if the thing you've been building has just been getting ready for this other thing to arrive. So that's kind of how I feel about Portal. Is it solves some problems for us going forward, and it raises its own unique set of challenges. But it's pretty fun stuff to think about from just the story point of view.
Multiplayer games are sort of, in some cases, inherently humorous. If you put 20 people in a room together and give them all guns and tell them to be really serious, it doesn't really work out. No matter how serious a multiplayer game wants to be, you've all seen those crazy moments that make you laugh a lot. And TF is a lot more about, and the art direction and so on, is a lot more about taking hold of that and running with it instead of trying to fight it. So a lot of those sort of crazy things like throwing down a pipe bomb and jumping off it to blow yourself into the air to get somewhere is absolutely a core of it. TF's about making sure that no matter what your skill set is, you're incredibly valuable to your team because you fulfill a role that no one else can fulfill. And the places where TF breaks down in the past were in places where roles were fulfillable by multiple classes, not in such a clean fashion. I think there's more of we've done some work to ensure that sort of exaggeration and uniqueness between the classes is a little more powerful, I think. As a general rule, instead of saying, well, we need to make sure that, everything that you could do the way you used to do it, has to stay alive, we're instead saying, well, if we built this game today, what would we do here? What's the right thing to do for this class? If we take advantage of physics, and what does the demo man in the physics world look like, and run with it? And what we usually find is we get a bunch of new, cool, much more exciting behaviors that fall out of that sort of greater technology. And that's part of the fun. So we're definitely running with that stuff. Actually, like all of our products, really. TF2 is an ongoing thing. We're going to keep building on it. The day we ship, we're not done with it by any means. And so we definitely have some ideas for other classes that we want that came out of some of the earlier versions that have sort of some new play styles. As we say, we sort of define our classes in terms of play style. I want to play like this. Which class do I choose? And we found through playtesting other styles of gameplay that players still don't really have the opportunity to have in any multiplayer game out there. So we'd like to keep pushing further on that, and that'll probably include adding new classes for that. We're not going to ship it until we think it's worthy, until we're sure it's what our customers expect from it. And if it's taken us a while to do that, then so be it. That's just the way it should be. We'd far prefer to do that than to ship something we think is substandard or isn't what our customers expect of us.